You're listening to the New Music Alliance Radio Hour, and I'm Stevie Converse. I'm here with Ace Hausthor and Mark Sherry and Andrew Oedel from Ghost Hit Recording, and we are with a Spotlight series today. And so we have all songs that have been recorded at Ghost Hit Recording in West Springfield. And you just heard Love Crumbs with Cavalcades. Before that, Booze Blues with Dan Liparini. And we started off with Charlie on a Boat, Doctora Zingona. So let's start with Doctora Zingona, Charlie on a Boat.
Oh, wow. Her voice. There's so much presence in that. I am floored by a lot of parts of that production. So, Andrew, how is it working with Dr. Zingona? Because there's presence in that I don't know how to explain.
Yeah, there's an absolute delight. This project was produced by Seth Gleer, who's another local singer-songwriter who we've worked with a lot. And this is a really cool song to start with, just because it's very indicative of musicians' workflow during the pandemic. So this particular song, like a lot of songs, I think this is Griffin Goldsmith from the band Dawes, who plays drums on this song and a couple other tunes on the record. So that was recorded remotely in LA and then sent over. And then Seth did a lot of work at his place with Diana, and then send it all over to me in the studio. So my role in this project was largely mixing, but some additional production kind of things. And for this song in particular, we were using the live room at the studio to add to sounds that people had recorded at home settings. And so we would take the sound of, the keyboards, the sound of the drums, the sound of the vocals, and replay them through the studio's live room and re-record the sound of the church back into the mix. So
I was totally going to ask about that, because you're in an old church. Why not use that natural, amazing reverb? It
Thank
shows
you so much.
It shows.
Yeah.
We should mention right up front now that Doctora Zingona is Diana Alvarez. For those of you out there who might be familiar with her under her other name.
Right. I played a song of hers back in January.
Total powerhouse.
Yeah.
Right.
She's just, when you see her in person, her voice vibrates through every cell of everything in the room. I really love the water effect in this one. Hearing that water, you really get the feeling of the boat. I love that. It really places the piece where it lives.
Well, speaking of water, the next tune, Booze Blues, a little different kind of water.
Incredible jazz guitar work, obviously.
Really? Yeah, from Hartford, Connecticut. Yeah, and Diana, we should mention, is a Western Mass native. Dan's, this is off of his album Tessellations. And did he do that whole album at Ghost Hit?
We did. This is a good example of a album that we recorded, I think, pretty much 100% live. So the size of the studio is such that we can accommodate really large ensembles. I don't think the band in this case is more than a quartet, but we have so much physical space that we're able to use. So we tend to get booked for projects that people really want to keep all the takes that they did live. And I just love working that way. Whenever possible, I'd like to get musicians in a room, set them up, and just hit record, and really not focus too much on overproducing things or trying to add too much that's not happening in the room. So I think largely that's the case with this record by Dan. I've known Dan for a long, long time. When I first moved out to Massachusetts, he was the guitar player in a band called Wise Old Moon, which is an Americana band from Hartford, Connecticut. And I worked with him then, and then on a couple things after that. This was the first record that we did together where he was really the musical director and the composer for the whole project. And he shines. His playing is unbelievable. So yeah, I'm glad that we listened to that.
Yeah, I'm glad that you did it live, because I was listening to it and it reminds me of sitting in a dark corner of some smoky bar in New York City. I mean, it just had that boozy sound to it. It's cool jazz. I just loved it.
And yet the production is still so clean. It's really, really intricately done.
Thank you. Yeah. The references that Dan was giving me, sort of like Julian Lage kind of stuff, where it's like, very, very sort of warm and natural, and you feel like it's unfolding in front of you. So he was really pushing me to, to keep things sounding like they were unfolding, right in front of you. Really intimate, really warm.
And the third song that we had on that block was Cavalcades by Love Crumbs, who is now based in Western Mass. But they actually were a band that had broken up for about 10 years and reformed back in 2020. And that's a great tune, powerful vocals especially.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's another tune that we did mostly live. I think the only things that we added to this were some background vocals, maybe some lead guitar and the organ. And again, we're just setting up so that we can get musicians playing together and keep as much of that as possible. Even in some cases, the lead vocal, I think, we were cutting lead vocal with the band for that song. And I should say that it was produced by Spencer Hattendorf, who's an old friend of mine, who's originally from Gill, now located in New York City, Gill, Massachusetts, formerly. And he has just been a collaborator of mine for many, many years. So I was grateful that he brought this project out to the studio. And they just recorded another single at the studio that Spencer also produced called it's called Ellipses. And that's also out now if folks are hankering for some more Love Crumbs.
Oh, yeah. I'm hankering for some more Love Crumbs.
Yeah, they do incredible stuff.
And if you're hankering to see Love Crumbs will actually be appearing in the next Valley Music Showcase in September of this year. So keep your ears and eyes out for that. And so let's get to our next block, where we're going to lead off with a tune by Ruby Mack called Milk Tooth.